In a time where you're probably about as likely to become a millionaire as you are to completely avoid social media, it can be hard to even measure how much it has changed our lives. I'm not going to go over every little way it's affected us, but I think by now it's become pretty clear to most people that, yeah, it really was those damn phones. In a world this connected, it doesn't matter what you do. Somewhere out there is a video of someone doing it better, cleaner, prettier, richer, or with more attention than you. And if you just let that seep into your brain too much, it'll make you feel small. What people forget is that everyone else is posting their best moments, while you get to experience every moment of your own in your life. And that's not a fair standard to compare yourself against. I think that a lot of people know that intellectually, but don't realize that even when you acknowledge it, the constant exposure still changes you subconsciously. In the motorcycle community, we have a name for a version of this. It's called stuntflation. I can pop a wheelie for around 10 seconds, maybe a little more on a good day. Online, that means basically nothing. Nobody is impressed because if you open Instagram or YouTube, you can watch 10 guys in a row hold wheelies forever while standing on the seat, swerving through traffic, or doing something else stupid enough to go viral. But then you step back into the real world and realize something important. I have literally never seen a single person in real life do that shit. Not once. So what looked mediocre online suddenly becomes rare again. That's what social media does to your standards. It quietly changes your idea of what is normal, what is impressive, and what actually is success. And I really do not think the human brain was built to compare itself against 8.3 billion people every day. The place I think this gets even uglier is attraction and self-image. Women get the worst end of it in a lot of ways. They're constantly shown other women who've posted the best out of one of 100 photos, taken it in the perfect angle, in the perfect light, and expensive clothes on a $1,000 phone that's already smoothing and filtering the image before they even touch it. And then that often isn't even enough for them. So the photo gets edited more, a little here, a little there. Imperfections get sanded off until what remains is not a real person, but instead the most broadly marketable version of one. And then a normal person, or worse, a young girl, sees that and feels lesser even though she is not. That to me is just evil. And don't think men get to escape it. We get all the same problems with warped standards, except our side also gets to deal with being compared to men on steroids, men with fake lifestyles, and men whose whole job is to make insecurity profitable. That does damage too. But I think the darkest effect of social media is the way it changes your relationship with the world itself. Because when you are constantly plugged into millions of lives at once, horrible things always happen somewhere. There is always a tragedy, a scandal, a death, a war, a collapse, a reason to feel like the world is deceased. And the reality is, no matter how informed you get, there is very little you can actually do about most of it. So all that happens is the outside world starts to feel like a place that you don't want to step back into. And the cruel part is that the only way to fix that perspective is to step back into it and realize it's not nearly as bad as your phone trained you to believe. You cannot live your life based on what you see online, and if you know an app is poisoning your mind, get rid of it. If you have Snapchat, I would start there. Anyone who actually matters can talk to you somewhere else. Then Instagram. Instagram has basically every problem I've mentioned, plus an algorithm that is very good at finding your emotional weak spots and feeding them back to you in a spiral. I've had nights where I started by watching innocent motorcycle stunt videos and ended up in a feed full of what can only be described as suicidal highway runs. At one point, I had an algorithm feed me a video that literally told me to kill myself. That is not a platform helping anyone live a better life. YouTube is useful. I think it can genuinely be a tool, but shorts are mostly brain damage with autoplay. Once you start pulling away from all of this, you run into a new problem. What do you actually do with the empty time? For me, one answer has been my laptop, because it lets me go from consumer to creator, and that changes my relationship. Instead of just absorbing whatever gets fed to me, I can make something. The other part of the puzzle has been handhelds. My PS Vita and Game Boy Color do a great job of letting me burn time when I need to without making me feel like my brain has been chemically altered by short-form content. I can enjoy them without feeling like my dopamine baseline has been shoved so high that life starts feeling dead afterwards. I'll be showing these off in an upcoming video about modding handhelds, so subscribe if that sounds interesting to you. Overall, I think the most important thing is just having something else. Anything real, anything intentional, because even after you get rid of your phone, there will still be those awkward moments in public spaces or groups where everyone else pulls theirs out and disappears into it. If you're like me, you cringe a little when you see it, and it makes it a lot easier to sit through them when you have something like a PS Vita so you can load up Ratchet & Clank without getting dragged back into the machine. This has been Cody Cashin. Stay connected by being disconnected.